Sue, I think to your point, I like targeted sampling much better.
Right, high-risk markets,
tools,
specific property types, yes.
Material change in the physical condition of the property due to disaster, volatile market conditions, high fraud areas, things along those that you've already found in your portfolio and you really want to drill down on. And that was the exception I was going to offer to. Is it required, physical property condition? No, it's not. But it's dang good practice to do that.
Exactly. It's reasonable.
Anybody have any ideas on who's qualified to complete an evaluation?
Again, the guidelines, and I do find this very interesting. As I said, they replaced the term appraiser with persons preparing valuations. And valuations, as I said, encompasses both appraisal and evaluations. They make a great effort to point out that persons who can prepare an evaluation must possess appropriate either appraisal or collateral valuation education, expertise, and experience. What the guidelines don't do is spell out in any kind of detail what constitutes requisite education for someone providing an evaluation. However, I think it's very clear that what they're shooting for here is that there be a measure by the institution that engages someone, that there be a measure of how they are qualified, how they have obtained education and experience. And then, of course, the other requirement that applies both to appraisal and evaluation is the requirement that they be independent of the lending process. And it sounds like others may have some thoughts on this as well.
Yeah, Bill, I was just going to chime in. Part of our processes here at AV Metrics is a training process as part of that collaborative process. And we've developed day-long and two-day courses and such. In fact, we just finished several training sessions to train up over 500 potential evaluators and people that were going to interpret AVMs for a major lending institution. And I think that dovetails nicely into who can do an evaluation, who can interpret evaluation, and how they're actually going to use it through a certified training type program.
Right. Well, and again, if we look back over the history of real estate appraisal, in the 1980s, there was no body of regulation that governed appraisers, and so appraisers had to compete based on competence, based on experience, based on their ability to demonstrate to a client that they had the expertise to do the job. Licensing, I think to some degree, took some of that level of competition among appraisers away because suddenly everybody became sort of equally eligible by virtue of that license. I think what we'll see with evaluations is as their use gains more prominence, that lenders will simply make demands for those providing these evaluations to provide better evidence of their expertise and competence.
Sue, we've got one last question that's pointed to you. It says, Sue stated earlier that a lender should use AVMs to be in compliance. Can you expand on that?
Oh, well, in compliance with the requirement that you're doing due diligence and validating conclusions. So there's no requirement out there, no regulation that I know of, and correct me if I'm wrong, that absolutely says you must use an AVM. But I also don't know of any more powerful tool to use when looking at value conclusions in appraisal reports. We go through, or for anything, BPOs, anything actually, when we go through this whole automated review process that gives us a good idea whether the boxes are checked off or the blanks are all filled in, that these automated solutions don't necessarily include any look at the value conclusion. the only thing that's going to give us a look at the value conclusion, other than a human being actually going through the process in their brain, is some kind of AVM that we can overlay. And hopefully that's an AVM that's tested, that's applicable, that provides some confidence in deciding that that AVM or that value conclusion in the appraisal report is within tolerances of your organization. So there's no requirement that you must be using them, but I'll pass along that if you're not using them and your regulators come in, and when your regulators come in and they say, how do you validate those value conclusions and test those value conclusions that you're getting in your appraisal reports, they're from your directly engaged appraisers or your AMCs, you need to have some methodology that you can put in front of them and say, this is how we do it. This is what we go through. This is how we understand it.
Okay. Well, thank you all. This concludes the RiskWire webinar. As stated here, this webinar will be replayed the week of February 14th, and it will be available at theriskwire.com. You'll get a reminder email identifying that. We want to thank the panelists and all who joined on the webinar today. As mentioned before, there will be additional webinars and more information pushed out from Veros in the very near future. If anybody has any ideas or would like to participate as a panelist or presenter in upcoming webinars, you can contact Emily at the email address or phone number listed here. I guess that's it for now. We thank you for joining and have a good day.